He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast Vue with Ricky Mathews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast Vue, and thank you for joining us on 103.1, or maybe you're listening on your favorite podcast or YouTube or Facebook. We really appreciate you joining us to celebrate coastal Mississippi on a daily basis. And now we're going to turn the page and move to my friend, the mayor of the city of Biloxi, FoFo Gilich. FoFo, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing terrific, man. You're doing great. I hope everyone's doing well. Like I said, it's just happy to be, here with you today.
Yeah, thank you, man. I always enjoy having you. We'll get it. I talked to Chuck Loftus today in the first segment. We're going to talk a little bit about the beach. We'll talk about COVID. What's going on in the city these days? There's a lot to talk about. But first, I want to show you a picture. Now, for the radio audience, we'll explain to you what the picture is. But the picture is a picture of the Chantels. And this is something that Vincent Creel passed to me a few weeks ago. And Robbie, tell the radio audience what we're looking at.
Well, that's a picture of, I think that's us in about the 10th grade. And I'm next to the piano to the left-hand side. And then Junie Desport, is actually the name of the band was Junie and the Chantels, but we just let him think he was the leader. But Junie Desport on the trumpet. And then right next to him was James Durrell Darnell. And then our drummer, Glenn Foray, is right in the middle right next to the saxophone player. And of course, your uncle by marriage, Robbie Melanson, as we would pronounce it back then. Then Rodney Payne's our lead guitar. But that was actually you remember the studio, the WLOX studio, and they did a daytime program or something about 4 o'clock or something. But that was our first appearance on the small screen. But that was.
And what year was that? What year was that?
It had been 1963, 62.
Wow.
Yeah. So
what a great picture. I commented to FoFo off the air that it was a great, good-looking group of guys. I mean, you not a dud in the group.
I'm telling you.
And lifelong friends. Many of you just lifelong friends, huh?
Oh, yeah. It really was a bond. I mean, we did so many things. From Florida to Louisiana. We didn't go to Texas. When I went to University of Houston, I played with another band over there, but still played with them in the summertime when I'd come home. But it was fun. It was always fun.
One day I'm going to have to do a show just on music, because I think me and you and I talked about this before, but I played drums all my life and banged a little bit on the piano. You're a piano player, but I always had my drumsticks on my desk in New Orleans when I met with community leaders, and it was so amazing how when they saw the drumsticks, they would say, "You play drums?" "Yeah." "Well, I play violin," or "I play this." There's music is so much a part of our culture, isn't it?
It is. I mean, it moves. I mean, it's spiritual, I think. Any kind of music, man. And you see the strength of voices, and you see, the vibrato in some of these voices, and just the different, from Fats Domino to Mario Alonso's. I mean, it's just amazing. Some of the things. It moves me, and I'm sure it moves you. And if you just think about it, man, I just wish I was better than I am. I have a good time. I'm telling you, it's like therapy to me. I play every night, put all the rock and roll music on, and have a concert.
Yeah, I love it. But you're right. I've talked a lot about Matthew McConaughey. He's the minister of culture in Austin, and one of his roles is to define what makes Austin, Texas, so special, so that as newcomers come there, they can learn about that. He doesn't want, neither does the mayor want, Austin to become the city that these people came from. They came to Austin for a reason. He's trying to capture those attributes. But when you think about over 300 years, all the migration that took place to coastal Mississippi, and all this blend of social customs, I talked about this at the beginning of the show, and art and language and religion, and especially music, how that connects us together. It's truly incredible. And that's part of our secret sauce, isn't it?
It is. I mean, it's part of the gumbo, and it's a taste. I just, about 2 years ago, I had a conversation with Irma Thomas. And Irma, I'm telling you, and we were in the 9th and 10th grade when she just started, making music. She talked about playing at the yacht clubs and the community center, and she was young, and she still got a great voice. I mean, she had that, that sustainable kind of voice over the years, and just so cool. And Man, and she remembered the same things we remembered, and it's just tremendous, especially from Louisiana towards us. I mean, it's a different kind of deal. And
so what the point that Matthew McConaughey makes is that if we're trying to come together on political dimensions, we're going to fail before we even get started. But if we're coming together on these attributes that bring our community together, these cultural things, that's the thing. That's the thing that can bring us together. And, whether it's art or music or food. I remember when I first started dating Ann Bohanovich, and I went over to Pete and Annette Bohanovich's house for Christmas, and the Christmas carolers came by. Mm-hmm. And these were all Croatian families, and they sang in Croatian language. Do you say Croatian? Is that
Croatian? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, and it was just such an incredible part of the culture of Biloxi. Yeah, man. I mean, we're so lucky to have that, aren't we?
Yeah, no, it was. I know. I'll say a few words. Nima Nisha Rakie. That was part of a Christmas carol, which means we don't have any whiskey. Nima Nisha Rakie, and that was part of a song. I can remember that, just like you would remember, because they were all singing the same tune for years and years.
I always love having FoFo on the show because he's such a smart guy, and I never plan a specific conversation. I just love letting it go wherever it's going to go. Right. Hey, FoFo, one of the things that Chuck and I talked about was, we're so lucky to have our beach, and it's the coastline that defines us. So second behind our people being number one, the beach is such a critical part of who we are, and it's what makes us this incredible community. It's what our visitors love. We're really lucky to have people who are focused on keeping it the best it can be, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely. That's my focus. You may have got in touch with Chuck on some of the restoration of this man-made beach and the littoral drift, and I've talked with Chuck, a number of times when we were trying to get some grants. But that 10-foot section of the boardwalk on top of the seawall walkway is what we're trying to fill in the gaps. And I think we're, in the last throes of getting our $2 million to do about a mile worth of put that walkway on top of the seawall, which is 9 steps, and you only see 2 or 3. But that's on top of my list, and we want to be able to walk from bridge to bridge, have enough room and enough safe space to fall one way or the other. And the supervisors know, and Chuck knows also. That's our game plan. Capitalize on that beach. You can't walk like in a lot of places. Go to California, the west coast of California. There's no place that you can do what we can do. And we just
It is super special. As you know from past conversations, I ride my bike down there all the time, and you continue to expand. And one of the important things actually is that the design of it is so solid that Zeta virtually didn't make any impact to it at all. I bet you were glad to see that.
Oh no! Like I said, if you have a chance to, I'll send you some of the pictures back in the 27 when they were doing this. That seawall is not going anywhere. The road may move, but that seawall is not. In every expansion joint, there's 3 sets of deep pilings that hold that in place. And of course, back from the Roman days, concrete gets stronger as it ages. And if you want to break up some equipment, go try and tear up some of that seawall. And so that place is not going anywhere. So that's why I said the Corps of Engineers has no problem with us, loading that seawall, with a little bit of a walkway. And so we're real pleased. And, this is Corps of Engineers who really owns that seawall and does things both, on the beach side as well as the north side where the highway is to protect that highway. And they're very, they covet that, the use of that seawall. But you're all in. So hopefully, you'll be able to walk, from bridge to bridge, and that's the intent.
I tell you what, though, it has stood the test of time, and the boardwalks that you guys are building today, they're standing the test of time. And add such a great addition to the amenities that we offer here in coastal Mississippi. Let's shift gears. Sure. We're about to come to the end of the segment. We'll get started and we'll pick it up on the other side. But COVID still reminding people they cannot drop their guard.
True.
So and unfortunately, we've had some notable deaths in the city of Biloxi that came from COVID. And it's just a great reminder that we got to protect the vulnerable. We have to not do close talking. We have to wear a mask, have to wash our hands, and this will continue for a while. If you run the numbers, you're a numbers guy. Run the numbers on where we are as it relates to vaccinations, and we've got a ways to go, don't we? I mean, I think Mississippi's getting it right now, but still, we got a long way to go. What's your thoughts about how long that's going to take?
Well, I'm hopeful that by June we're gonna have approaching 80% of vaccinations, and then I think that the numbers, you've got 300,000 people or so have been in Mississippi, so we got a 3 million population. So at some point in time, there'll be some mathematical say, hey, it's safe. It's a good model, and hopefully that we'll be there by June, end of June, or something like that. That's what I'm hoping, anyhow. But
they say about 75 to 80% of people have to get vaccinated before we can get to herd immunity. But let's don't short shrift the conversation. Sure. We'll pick it up right here when we get on the other side. This is FoFo Gilich from the city of Biloxi, and we'll be back after this break.
Coast Vue on SuperTalk 103.1 is brought to you by J. Allen Toyota on I-10 exit 38 Gulfport. See all the incredible inventory at allentoyota.com. And remember, when you think Toyota, think J. Allen Toyota.
Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast View with Ricky Mathews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. We have Mayor FoFo Gilich with us. He's the mayor of the city of Biloxi. And Kyle, show what he's showing. This is a picture from a story that was written. I see the title is by Malcolm Gladwell. He's the guy who wrote The Tipping Point. But anyway, this is a picture from the Spanish flu days in New York. Right. And he read a report about it, and so interesting. Everybody's got face masks on. So what is old just comes back again. It's what goes around comes around. Here we are back in the same spot again.
It is, and talking about a little bit the Spanish flu. The Spanish flu was the first one to detect it. But not to waste a lot of time, not wasting a lot of time, because I read it's about a 15-page article that will open your eyes and see how what we're facing today. Well, basically, it started in Canadian geese as they migrated south through the heartland. This virus it infected pigs, and we were close to the DNA so the infection that went to pigs went to our citizens. And World War I came along, and we infected, and we sent about a million soldiers to Europe. Spanish were the first one to detect the virus, and that's how the Spanish flu. But I mean, it was 645,000 lives that was lost in the United States, and then all over the world, it was the deadliest. This was actually written in 1997, and they were just nailing down the DNA of this virus. But it makes sense as you learn through this, today. So it was done. These things that we're doing today is nothing new. We're asking people, hey, let's protect everyone. And that's what we need to do. I mean, it's touched over the last month. I have 4 or 5 people that I know passed away that, when you think it was going to end 4 or 5 months ago, it's just as deadly, just as strong as it is now. Although, vaccinations is the light at the end of the tunnel, and the numbers will get up there eventually. It's, as you and I talked a little while ago, these vaccines, amazing that they can, do what they've done, and the protection that they're offering. It's just unbelievable. But
they did so quickly. The RNA technology and this genetic coding that they're able to do and get to the bottom line. It's so interesting too that so many of these different pharmaceutical companies are going at it in a slightly different way. But the outcome is very similar. Some are 2 shots, some are 1 shot, but they all are seeking to bring the number of deaths down to virtually 0, and the protection up in some cases 80, in some cases well into the 90 percentiles.
Right,
it's terrific. Yep. And the sooner we all get vaccinated, the better, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we want to get back to normal. I'm telling you, I want to be able to, I'm a touchy-feely kind of guy, shaking hands and fist bumps and stuff like that. That's what I miss. And just, hugging the people that you want to, bump up to. That's what I'm looking forward to. And
I've only been to a couple of public events, and one was night before last at the Ocean Springs Mayor Forum. I moderated it. And it was terrific, by the way. I mean, no one attacked each other. They any mention of one of their competitors was in a positive framework. It's good to see that in today's world, I might add. And watching that take place, but it was odd with a face mask on and with the hand sanitizer in one of my hands and just being around people. It's hard to talk to people through a face mask, man, especially when you wear glasses because your glasses are constantly fogging up.
It affects my hearing too. I can't hear with the face mask on. So,
well, you need to be able to see how people are pronunciating the words. It's just as part of how we communicate with one another. Yeah. Hey, when you woke up this morning, what was the most important thing you were thinking about?
Well, I'm waiting to get back to normal. There's a number of projects that we're facing, and of course, every day is what do we need to do for Biloxi today and for our kids? It's all about our kids and our next generations. We were fortunate enough to have parents and grandparents that care for us, and sometimes it was hard for us to understand, but they drove our life and they drove our future, and I just want to make sure that we're doing those same things for, when we're dead and gone, the people who we have a DNA trail for appreciate, the little things that we can do. And we really. Yeah. I
remember Haley Barber after Hurricane Katrina, he said, we have to do this. We have to build bigger and better. We have to be focused on creating something better, seeing this as an opportunity, talking to Katrina. And he would always say that we were doing this for our kids and our kids' kids, but you're doing generational work and you understand that, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I love it too. I mean, you feel it. You don't, as long as you know it, it can give you that drive. It's hard to especially the people who come into our area and they love our area, but they don't understand what drives, what really drives, our goals and our past. So it's just a tremendous goal, and it just keeps me going every morning. You
have a sense of purpose. That's what that means. And I actually talked about that at the beginning of the show, that everyone has greatness in them. Everyone has something that they can find as their sense of purpose. And what someone once said is that a sense of purpose is something you're willing to die for. Do you really feel it in your heart and your soul? And this is something that's important to you, and that's what you're describing. But anyway, we're out of time. This has been Mayor FoFo Gilich. We appreciate you taking time to visit with us.
Okay, well, I love it. Like I said, anytime you call me about anything you have on your mind, and just give me a heads up so I can use a little bit of my technology to get to you. So,
from the Chantels to the Spanish flu, we covered it all, man.
All right, brother.
Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank y'all.
Broadcasting safe and sound from the coastal Mississippi studios, this is Coast Vue with Ricky Mathews on SuperTalk 103.1.